The lost camel in the city of Shaddad. During the caliphate of Muawiyah, there lived a man named Abdullah bin Kalaba. One day, his camel went missing, and he became very worried. He set out in search of it, wandering through towns and deserts, asking everyone he met, "Have you seen my camel anywhere?" But no one had seen it. Still, Abdullah continued searching, day and night, until one day he reached deep into a forest far away from the city of Aden in Yemen. As he went further into the forest, he suddenly saw something astonishing, a magnificent city standing right in the middle of the wilderness. When he got closer, he saw that the city was surrounded by a high wall, and around it were beautiful, tall buildings with banners flying on their roofs. Abdullah thought, maybe if I go inside, someone there might have seen my camel. But as he approached, he noticed something strange. The city was completely silent and empty. There was no sign of any human life anywhere. He tied his camel outside, took his sword in hand for safety, and carefully walked toward the gates. When he reached the entrance, he stopped in amazement. Before him stood two enormous gates, higher and larger than anything he had ever seen in his life. The doors were made not of ordinary wood but of precious, fragrant timber, beautifully inlaid with red and yellow rubies. The light from those jewels made the whole gate sparkle. Summoning courage, Abdullah stepped inside, and what he saw left him utterly speechless. Inside the city were grand palaces and magnificent buildings, not made of ordinary materials but of gold, silver, and precious stones. The walls glowed with pearls, and the pillars were made of rubies and emeralds. Each palace had windows of gold and silver, decorated with pearls. Around the buildings were lush gardens, filled with trees bearing every kind of fruit, and beneath those trees flowed streams of clear water. Abdullah was overwhelmed by the beauty and thought to himself, perhaps this is the paradise, Jannah, that Allah has promised to his righteous servants. In his excitement, he began to take some of the precious jewels and stones, but they were fixed so tightly that he could remove only a few small pieces. Gathering what little he could, he returned to his camel and left by the same path he had come. When he reached Yemen, he told everyone about the mysterious city he had discovered and showed them the jewels he had brought back. People were astonished, and soon the news spread everywhere, even reaching Caliph Muawiyah. The Caliph sent a letter to his governor, ordering him to bring Abdullah bin Kalaba to him. When Abdullah was presented before the Caliph, Muawiyah questioned him privately about everything he had seen. Abdullah described the city, the gold and silver buildings, the walls of pearls, the pillars of emerald and ruby, the fruit gardens, and the streams flowing beneath them, but that no human being was anywhere to be seen. The Caliph was astonished. Then he summoned Khubsurat, a scholar known for his deep knowledge of ancient scriptures, and asked him, Khubsurat, have you ever read in any book about a city built of gold and silver, with pillars of emerald and ruby, and pearls outlining its windows, with gardens and flowing rivers beneath them? Khubsurat replied, Yes, O Caliph. This city was built by Shaddad, the son of Ad, the one whose people were known as the people of Ad. Ad. Khubsurat continued, Ad had two sons, Shaddad and Shaddad. Shaddad died first, and Shaddad became the ruler of his father's kingdom, ruling over many lands. Shaddad was fond of reading and learning, especially stories of old. One day, he read descriptions of paradise, with palaces of gold and silver, floors of fragrant wood, and buildings adorned with pearls and jewels. Hearing of such splendor, Shaddad's heart was filled with pride and desire. He said, I will build a paradise on earth like that of heaven. He selected 100 skilled men and ordered each of them to employ 1,000 laborers to build this city. He told them, find the finest land in the forest and construct there for me a city made of gold, silver, and precious stones. The workers were astonished. One of them asked, Your Majesty, where will we find so much gold, silver, and precious stones? Shaddad smiled and said, do you not know that all the kingdoms of the world are under my rule? Send my men to every land and take whatever gold, silver, and gems are needed from their treasuries. And so it was done. For 10 years, his men gathered wealth from all over the world. Then for 300 more years, the city was being built. When construction was finally complete, messengers informed Shaddad, "O king, your city is ready, it is just as you desired." Shaddad ordered them to build a great wall around the city so no one could enter easily, and to plant thousands of trees around it to increase its beauty. When everything was finished, he commanded his people to prepare for the journey. For 10 years, they packed supplies and readied themselves. Finally, Shaddad set out with his great army to win the city, eager to see his man-made paradise. But as they neared it, when only one night's journey remained, Allah sent a mighty thunderous sound from the sky, and Shaddad and all his followers were destroyed instantly. Neither he nor any of his companions ever entered the city. Then khubsurat said to the Caliph, "Greater than according to my knowledge, after the time of the Prophet Muhammad, a man with reddish hair and short stature will one day enter this city while searching for his lost camel." When Caliph Muawiyah presented Abdullah before khubsurat, khubsurat looked at him and swore, "Greater than by Allah. This is the very man whose description was mentioned in the old scriptures." And so it was. Shaddad never saw the paradise-like city he had spent centuries building, while Abdullah bin Kalaba, by destiny, became the one to find it centuries later. Would you like me to make this story shorter and simpler, like a version for a video narration or children?